This is the Relic Radio Show, old-time radio entertainment still standing the test of time, from relicradio.com. Welcome back to the Relic Radio Show, 60 minutes of radio drama brought to you every Tuesday at relicradio.com. Our first story this week comes from The Whistler. We'll hear The Seeing Eye, his story from November 12th, 1945. After that, it's Dunninger The Mentalist with guest Dorothy Kilgallen. That episode aired June 14th, 1944.
The Signal Oil Program. The Whistler. That whistle is your signal. For the Signal Oil Program, The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
Yes, friends, it's time for the Signal Oil Program, The Whistler. Remember, let every traffic signal remind you. With Signal, new Signal gasoline, you do go farther than ever. Look for Signal's big yellow and black circle sign that identifies those popular signal stations in 7 western states from Canada to Mexico. And now the Whistler's strange story, The Seeing Eye.
There was only one love in the life of Captain Martin Quiss. It wasn't money. He'd long since made more than enough to retire comfortably. And it wasn't women or liquor or self-indulgence. Captain Quiss was part of the sea. It had been his home and his life since the day in 1907 when he signed aboard a purse-seiner out of New Bedford as an apprentice seaman. But a love as strong as that of Captain Quiss for the sea can be dangerous. It can blind a man to more important things like human decency and justice. It can lead to compromise and ruin. The closing chapter in the career of Martin Quiss began on a stormy night off the Florida Keys, aboard the steamer Carson City out of New Orleans, bound for Portland, Maine. The night wind, pushing up strong from the east, had reached gale strength when the cabin door burst open.
What's the matter, Grant?
What are we running here, a ship or a nursery?
Now, wait a minute.
You wait a minute.
Well, address me properly or not at all.
All right, Captain Quiss, sir.
That's better. Now, what's the matter, Mr. Grant?
The first mate's drunk again. He just ordered me off the bridge.
That's a serious charge, Mr. Grant.
I'm not making charges, Captain. This isn't the pink tea at the Mariners Club. We're in dangerous waters.
Ryder is perfectly capable.
I tell you, he's drunk. He has no right to be on that bridge. If you don't believe me, call him.
Very well, Mr. Grant.
Bridge.
Ryder?
First mate Ryder in the bridge, sir. Lights are bright, all's well.
Ryder, Grant has a watch until 8 bells.
It's all right, Quiss. Got everything under control. Tell Grant to turn in.
Listen, Ryder.
Never mind, Quiss. Don't worry, little head. I'm in charge here. Yep. I'm in charge.
What did he say?
Mr. Ryder's in charge. He's perfectly capable of standing the watch if he chooses.
Now, wait a minute. Let's skip the double talk. It's my watch. My name's on the log. It's my responsibility to see that this ship stays on its course for the next 3 hours.
You'd better go to your quarters, Mr. Grant.
Captain Quiss, don't you care what happens to your ship?
Mr. Ryder's been sailing for 15 years.
Yeah, and every time he gets a few drinks under his belt, he thinks he's Columbus. This isn't the first time, Captain. He's done it before. I can't understand why you let him get by with it.
You're here to take orders, Grant, not to tell me how to run my ship. Now get down to your cabin.
He's got something on you, hasn't he?
Huh? What do you mean?
Nothing. There just ought to be a reason why you let Ryder get by with murder. Why he has complete command of the ship 3 days running while you sit in your cabin.
Get out of here, Grant.
There's something wrong, isn't there, Captain?
Get out of here before I throw you an iron.
All right, Captain Quiss. I'm just trying to do my duty as an officer. If you want to trust your ship to a rum pot, go ahead.
Yes, Captain Quiss, there is something wrong, isn't there? Ryder has plenty on you, hasn't he? Enough to make you overlook the fact that the first duty of a master is to the safety of his ship. Enough to make you afraid to face Ryder and force the issue. It worries you, doesn't it? Instead of turning in, you sit at your desk in the cabin, thinking, wishing there were a way out. Then at 6 bells, an hour before midnight, you hear a strange and terrifying sound. The roar of the surf to the starboard. It's close, Captain, too close.
Good Lord, Ryder. Do you know what you're doing?
Go away, Quiss. I'm busy.
Give me that wheel.
I'm sure
You'll pile us up. You'll pile us up on the rocks. Put your helm on.
Get out of here.
Put your helm.
Well, Quiss, Grant was right, wasn't he? The Carson City did pile on the rocks, a total loss. 2 sailors dead, a valuable cargo gone. But there is an out, isn't there? Ryder's name doesn't appear on the log. Nobody knows he was at the wheel but you. And Charles Grant, second mate. And Ryder must be cleared if you're to continue your career. You don't care what happens, do you, Quiss? Nothing matters now except getting Ryder off. Your life on the sea is at stake. So you play ball because of the strange hold Ryder has on you. You testify that Grant was on the bridge at the critical moment, that in your opinion he's guilty of gross negligence. And the court agrees with you.
Second mate, Grant, will you rise and face the court? It is the finding of this court that on the night of May 11th, you, as the officer in charge, were guilty of criminal negligence, resulting in the wreck of the ship Carson City, with the loss of 2 lives and an entire cargo. You are therefore sentenced to a year and a day in the federal penitentiary, with cancellation of your credentials as an officer in the United States Merchant Marine. Do you have anything to say?
No, Your Honor. Nothing. To the court.
This court is declared adjourned.
Congratulations, Captain.
I'm sorry, Mr. Grant.
I was right, wasn't I? Ryder does have something on you.
I said I'm sorry, Mr. Grant.
Perjury doesn't come easy. There's got to be a reason. I'm sorry, too, Captain Quiss. I'm sorry for you. Because if it takes me a lifetime, I'm going to hang this wrap around your neck and watch you sink.
Signal. New Signal gasoline. With the prologue of tonight's story, The Seeing Eye, the Signal Oil Company brings you another of the strange tales by the Whistler. Have you seen the new 1946 cars now being displayed? They're nice, aren't they? But if you've also inquired about delivery dates, you know you're likely to be driving your present car a good while longer. No need to wait any longer, however, for the fun of improved driving performance. No, sir. For with new Signal gasoline in your tank, you actually feel your present car get young again right now. And that's because new Signal isn't just pre-war quality gasoline, not just old-style gasoline improved, but an entirely new type, super fuel. There's a long scientific explanation about how chemists actually rearrange the atoms in gasoline molecules to put quicker starting, faster pickup, higher anti-knock, and longer mileage into new Signal gasoline. But for the easy way to prove these advantages, just drive into one of the friendly stations displaying Signal's familiar yellow and black circle sign. Get a tank full of new Signal gasoline. As you step on the accelerator, your own motor will show you why new Signal gasoline actually is the post-war gasoline you can prove is superior. And now, back to the Whistler.
Yes, Captain Quiss, the end of your career on the sea began the night that the Carson City piled up and sank on a reef off the Florida coast and sent Charles Grant, your innocent second mate, to prison for criminal negligence. There was no other way, you told yourself. Ryder must be cleared at all costs. And as he said, you're indispensable to each other. During the years that follow, you make one ironclad request before each sailing. Ryder must go as first mate. Yes, Quiss, the partnership works well during those 4 years. Until one day when your current vessel, the Patricia K, pulls at her moorings in the port of Cape Town, South Africa, anxious to be off on the return trip to New Orleans with her cargo of hemp, leather, and drugs. You're waiting on the bridge for a new officer to arrive.
Second Mate Charles Grant reporting for duty, sir.
Hey, Grant,
Surprised, Captain?
what are you doing here?
I'm shipping aboard as second mate. Any objections?
Why, see here, Grant,
What's the matter, Captain? Nervous?
I'm sorry, Grant. You won't do. I'll call the agent.
Good.
And tell him
He'll tell you I'm aboard the Patricia K on orders from the Home Office. You better have a good reason, Captain.
Your record
I'm not
shows...
worried about my record, Captain, and the Home Office isn't either. I'm surprised you're willing to bring up the matter of records, Captain.
See here, Mr. Grant.
Sorry, Captain.
All I have to say, Mr. Grant, is that you'd better be sure you handle your duties well. The past is gone. I'd rather not discuss it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm glad they've given you a new chance. You'll find I haven't changed.
But you have, Captain.
How's that?
I never saw you wearing dark glasses before. Perhaps that's why you didn't recognize me when I walked up just now.
Yes, of course. You'd better go to your cabin, Mr. Grant. Stow your gear.
All right, sir.
Ryder! Ryder, open up!
Yeah, what's the matter?
I don't know.
Wait a minute now. Take it easy. Look out there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're sorry. It was a fifth of my best bourbon, you stupid stumblebum. Why'd you hang out a side?
I didn't see it.
Of course you didn't see it. One more like that, and I'm going to hand you a white cane. Where's your sense? Told you to stay on the bridge till I came up. What'll the men think when they see you stumbling around on deck?
Listen, Ryder,
I'm through listening. You're falling to pieces, Quiss. I'm tired of playing seeing eye for you every time you have one of these spells. If I had the brains I was born with, I'd make you retire.
I'd kill you first.
You know, I think you would. Come on. We'd better cast off. Got a half hour to clear the port. The new second mate aboard?
Yes.
Who is he?
That's why I came here. He's not a new second mate, Ryder.
Oh, who is he?
Grant.
Grant? What are you talking about?
You heard what I said?
He's been in stir. He hasn't got a license.
He's here on orders from the Home Office. Nothing I can do.
What do you mean there's nothing you can do? That guy can't sail. That's all there is to it.
I called the agent.
Call the agent. Good Lord, why didn't you have him shanghaied? I tell you, that guy's not going to sail. I'm going up there, and
Now, wait a minute, Ryder.
Shut up, I'm going up
Ryder! I'm still in command of the ship. And I want you to remember that. If there were anything I could do, I'd do it. But unfortunately, there isn't. Grant's on board for the voyage, and we've got to make the best of it.
All right. I'll make the best of it. And I'll make the best of it when we get to New Orleans, too.
Oh?
Whether you like it or not, Quiss, this is your last voyage. I'm through hanging on to a guy who's fallen to pieces.
What does that mean?
Grant isn't dumb, and he isn't here for the trip. If you had the brains you were born with, you'd have seen it and brushed him off.
It wasn't possible.
I don't care whether it was possible or not. Had to be done. And if we're lucky enough to keep him guessing this trip, you're going to decide to retire when we get to New Orleans.
And if I don't?
The Home Office is going to be surprised to discover that one of their top skippers has a habit of going blind every 6 weeks.
Wait,
And don't try to scare me with that negligence charge. You'd go up just as fast as I would, and for just as long.
who are you?
And one other thing. You're going to recommend your bright young first mate to succeed you. How does that sound to you, Quiz? Captain Ted Ryder.
It's hard to take, isn't it, Quiz? The idea of giving up your ship, of leaving the sea forever, hardly seems real to you. In your bunk that night, after the Patricia K has put out into the South Atlantic, you try and think back over the past 4 years. You remember the 2 men who died on the Carson City, 2 men whose lives ought to be on your conscience, 2 men who'd be sailing today if you cared about anything but Martin Quiss, ship's master. Perjury, bribery, the conviction of an innocent man. Nothing mattered, did it? Finally, you sleep, although the pain in your eyes tells you another attack is coming on in earnest. All you can make out the next morning as you walk down the deck to the bridge is the hazy line of the horizon and the dull blur of the ship plodding forward against a head-on swell. You arrive to find Grant there, alone.
Morning, Grant.
Hello.
What happened? Nothing. I just bumped into the chart table.
Why don't you take those dark glasses off?
Why don't you stop asking me questions, Mr. Grant?
That's one way of finding out things, that's all.
Happens to be the wrong way at the moment. Hand me my log.
What?
Don't what me, Mr. Grant. Hand me my log.
Why, Captain, it's right in front of you on the table.
Huh? Oh. Yes, I didn't notice it.
Don't you feel well?
I feel quite well, thank you.
I'm glad to hear it, sir. What do you suppose that schooner is doing on our starboard bow? Never saw a ship that small in the South Atlantic.
Huh? Where?
Over there. See her?
Huh. Oh, yes.
How do you make her out?
Coastwise African trader, probably. We're only a day out.
Can't be more than 100 feet. Or would you say she was larger?
I'm not interested in whether she's 100 feet or 1,000 feet long, Mr. Grant. Turn to your wheel.
Yeah. Who are you trying to kid, Captain?
What do you mean?
You wear dark glasses day and night. You bump into the table. You can't see the log.
Who said I can't see the log? You might as well know, Mr. Grant, that if I choose to wear pink glasses and a green jacket, I'll do so. It so happens it's none of your business.
On the open sea, the captain's eyes are everybody's business.
It has nothing to do with my eyes.
It was an accident?
Of course.
That ship out there, is that an accident, too?
What are you getting at? I can see that ship perfectly well.
I apologize, Captain. I was wrong about your eyes. You have excellent vision.
Thank you.
It takes a good man to see over the horizon.
What do you mean?
That's where she must be. There isn't any ship out there. Tell me, Captain, what made you think you'd get away with it? A ship's captain without eyes.
But I told
you I felt sorry for you once. I still do. That's where the partnership comes in, isn't it? Your brains and Ryder's eyes.
Now listen, Grant.
You'll do anything to keep that lousy master's license, wouldn't you? You'd stab your best friend in the back, buy and sell witnesses, perjure yourself. Yeah, you'd even kill me if you thought you'd get away with it. Why, Quiz? Why didn't you have sense enough to throw in the towel before it got too big for you?
You wouldn't understand.
You bet I don't understand, and the families of those 2 men in the Carson City don't understand either. You're a murderer, Quiz. I suppose you know that.
Will you stop it, Grant? Stop
That's
it!
exactly what I'm going to do. When we get to New Orleans, I'm going to stop it. For good this time. You can buy all the witnesses in the world, Quiz, but it won't do you any good. This time it's going to stick.
Yes, Ryder was right, wasn't he, Captain Quiss? You should have done anything to keep Grant off the ship. But it's too late now. He knows your secret. Each day brings the Patricia K closer to New Orleans in the end. You decide to play for time, order the course of the ship changed, sending it north to Cape Verde, 4 days out of its way, hoping your eyes will improve. That by the time you arrive in New Orleans, your vision will be sharp and clear and defensible. But it continues to get worse, until finally 10 days out of New Orleans, you can't see at all. And then one night, out of a clear sky, something happens. The opportunity you've been waiting for. As the ship approaches the Florida Keys, not far from where the Carson City foundered, you hear a scuffle outside your cabin.
All right, now get away from there.
What's going on here? Kelly, come here.
Try and pull it again, will you?
Kelly!
Okay, I'll let you. There. Now. All right, get up, Ryder.
Mr. Grant.
This is none of your business, Quist. Get up, Ryder, or I'll pull you out. Now, wait a minute, Grant.
Kelly, grab him.
Let go of me, Kelly. I got him,
Get him,
Captain.
man.
Got him. Barnes. Yeah. Take care of Ryder here. Kill him, Extra George. Kill him. Ryder, shut up. Okay, mate. Now take it easy. Don't get you for this. Grant up.
That's enough, Ryder.
Shall I put them in irons, Captain?
No, Kelly.
But, Captain.
It won't be necessary, Mr. Kelly. Take them to their cabins.
That gave you an idea, didn't it, Quiz? There's a way out after all. You feel your way back into your cabin and think. Ryder was up to his old tricks again, drunk, trying to take the wheel away from Grant. It was timed perfectly, wasn't it, Captain? 2 competent witnesses present, 2 reliable supporters, both of whom heard Ryder swear he was going to kill Grant. The men are puzzled as to why you didn't throw them in irons. But there's a good reason. They have to be free to come and go as they please during the next night. Free to jump through the hoops you're preparing for them. You go to your cabin after dinner the next night and sit at your table thinking it through. Then at 7 o'clock, you call Grant.
Did you want to see me, Captain?
Oh, it's you.
Yes. I've been standing here for some time.
Grant, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. Perhaps you wondered why I didn't exercise my authority when you and Ryder had that scuffle last night.
I didn't expect Ryder to get it, if that's what you mean.
As a matter of fact, I've come to the conclusion you're right.
What do you want?
When's your trick at the wheel tonight?
I'm on at 8 bells, replacing Ryder.
I see. I've decided to clear you, Mr. Grant. I'm going to put it in writing. As a parent, I'm not much good on the sea anymore, and at least I can try to right the wrong I've done.
What?
I know it's hard to believe, but I'm going to ask you to keep it to yourself until we arrive. Ryder mustn't know about it.
But how can you?
I can manage a typewriter quite nicely, thank you. I'm not asking for any thanks. I don't deserve anything.
I'll go that far with you.
Report here just before you go on watch. 8 Bull Shop. Is that clear?
You're a little unpredictable, Quiss.
I didn't ask for your opinion. I asked whether or not it was clear.
Very well, Captain. I'll be back at 8 bells.
You were afraid of that one, weren't you, Quiz? But he fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. You'll be ready for him at 8 bells with Ryder conveniently alone, unseen on the bridge. You can tell he's alone. Anyone going to the bridge must pass the narrow strip of deck outside your door. Quietly, you feel around in the drawer of your chest. Ryder's Navy revolver, right where you put it this morning. Now the knife and some string. You walk carefully to the door and run your hands over the panel to get just the right spot, breast high, a little to your right, on a line with Grant's heart as he comes in the door. You drive in the point of the knife and tie the string to the knife handle. Then you walk back to the desk, drawing the string with you. At the desk, you sit down. You pick up the gun and prop it up with the barrel running alongside the tight string. When the gun is properly lined up, you pull the string and draw the knife towards you. You put them back in the drawer. Then you release the safety catch on the gun and wait. You're ready for him now, aren't you? with the gun accurately aimed at the spot in the doorway where the bullet will count most when Grant opens that door. It seems like hours. Your hand is cramped around the gun, but you don't relax for a second. There's determination in your mind. You're doing it for the sea, and you won't give it up for anyone. Then...
Whistler will return with the strange ending of tonight's story in just a moment. Meantime, with chill winter weather definitely here, don't forget that you're not the only one who'll be needing winter clothes and a winter diet to keep feeling fit. It's just as important for your car to have Signal's winter diet to keep wear down when the thermometer's down. For the transmission and differential, that means draining, flushing, and refilling with Signal winter gear lubricant. If it's been 5,000 miles since your front wheel bearings were serviced, now's the time to have them removed, thoroughly cleaned, and repacked with Signal long-life wheel bearing grease. And for your motor, it's high time to drain out summer weight oil and refill with real winter protection. Refill with Signal Pen, the pure Pennsylvania oil with the famous fighting film that flows freely even on coldest mornings. With this complete Signal diet, your car has the cold weather lubricants it needs to help keep it purring through another winter. And the place to get it is at that friendly station displaying Signal's familiar yellow and black circle sign. Your neighborhood Signal gasoline dealer. And now, back to the Whistler.
Well, it's over now, isn't it, Captain Quiss? Your system worked. The second shot wasn't necessary. You're shaking as you get out of the chair and wipe the fingerprints off the gun, throwing it on the deck beside the body. Then you call the engine room and order Kelly to the cabin. You're ready for him when he arrives.
Good Lord, what's happened?
You were right, Kelly. I should have put them in irons. Seems that Ryder just shot Mr. Grant.
What?
Where is he?
Ryder?
Yes. Yes, throw him in the brig immediately.
But Captain, are you blind?
What do you mean?
Why, this is Ryder here, on the floor.
What? I didn't know it. All I heard was a scuffle and...
Wait a minute, Quiss.
Grant!
I'm in charge now, Kelly. Put Captain Quiss in irons.
Captain!
He's lying.
Shut
I'm
up.
in charge here.
You're even more stupid than I thought, Quiss.
Take him away, Kelly.
Wait a minute. You know why Ryder came here, Quiss? Because I didn't show up for my trick at the wheel. I didn't show up because I've been here, right in this room, from the time you called me in here an hour ago. It was quite a show you put on for me, Quiss. I'll want the knife and string. May need them to illustrate my lecture when we get into New Orleans.
Grant. No.
Lock
No!
him up, Kelly. I'm sorry for the poor guy.
Next Monday at 9 o'clock, the Whistler will bring you another strange tale. The Whistler is broadcast for your entertainment by the marketers of Signal gasoline and motor oil and fine quality automotive accessories, and by your neighborhood Signal dealer. This program, produced by George W. Allen, with tonight's story by John Michael Hayes and Bud Swanton, music by Wilbur Hatch, is transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. That whistle is your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. This is Marvin Miller speaking. reminding you to look for those familiar yellow and black circle signs that identify those popular signal oil stations in 7 western states, from Canada to Mexico. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Here's the Chemtone Hour with Dunninger the Master Mentalist. Chemtone's the miracle wall finish that
paints an average room for only $2.98.
Goes on living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, and playrooms like magic.
goes right over wallpaper, paint, or wallboard.
Mixes with water, dries in an hour, washes easily.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman who, with his unique skill as his only weapon, invades your mind and reads your thoughts, Dunninger.
Thank you, Glenn Riggs. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There's one error in Glenn's description. I cannot invade against opposition. I need your cooperation. You must want me to get into your thoughts before I can. What do you say? Do you want me in there? Well, then, here goes. Concentrate. I receive an impression from some lady or gentleman that is concentrating his or her mind upon the initials J.B. I get the name Captain Jim. Does that make sense to anyone? The gentleman about the 5th row, center of the auditorium is answered. That is your thought, sir?
That's right.
Would that be Captain Jim Blair?
That's right, sir.
You're asking me mentally where he is at this time.
Yes, sir.
Do you know the answer?
I do, sir.
You simply wrote the question, where is he?
That's
you
right.
want me to tell you the answer?
Yes, sir.
The answer to that question, incidentally, appears only in your mind. It's not placed upon paper. Would that be Caroline Ireland?
That's right, sir.
That is correct. I thank you. Caroline Ireland. Another impression which I received comes from someone concentrating his or her mind upon a birthday. A day in the month of July, the 25th day in July. Where does that come from, please? July 25th. Who is thinking of July 25th? The gentleman about the 20th row on the right side of the auditorium. The young man with the mic is going up to him. You have to climb a number of steps to get to him on a long cabled microphone. Is that your thought, sir?
Yes, but not a birthday.
Your own? You were born in 1888?
Not a birthday.
Not a birthday. Were you concentrating upon 1888?
No year concentrating.
The gentleman here is doing the thinking. 6th row, center of the auditorium. You see, I can't pick the individual that does the thinking. Would that be correct, sir? The 6th day of June, or rather the 25th day of June, 1888?
Correct.
Just by form of variation, since I've selected you for this test and had a bit of difficulty locating you, would you take some other number in mind as well? Are you now thinking of a serial number, perchance? Is it your own number? Yes or no?
My own.
Good. I'll see if I can get that as well. Would that be 10539?
Correct.
That is correct. Thank you very much. Say, you're great. There's so much good thinking going on that I really hate the stuff.
But we have our judges to introduce, Dunninger.
I know, so do the honors. Will you, Glenn? Then we'll continue.
Tonight's guests represent journalism, music, and the arts. That sounds like a museum. But our judges are too much alive for that. They are the famous author, Broadway columnist, and playwright, Dorothy Kilgallen. The popular band leader, Shep Field. Our third judge is the great poet of World War II, whose famous poems have appeared in the Saturday Evening Post and Life and thrilled the nation, Joseph Auslander. Miss Kilgallen, you're noted for your insight. Do you have any into Dunninger's methods?
Only hunches.
Want to tell us?
No thanks. I'd rather have more to base them on first.
What say, Dunninger?
Yes?
I'd rather have more to base the hunches on first.
I see. Well, then watch closely. Here we go again. I receive an impression from some lady or gentleman that's concentrating his or her initials upon the name, concentrating upon the initials K.R., rather. Kelly is the first name, where does it come from, please? Kelly is the first name. The last name begins with an R. Seems to be Kelly Rogers. Does that make sense to anyone? It does. It makes sense to the gentleman about the 40th row, center of the auditorium. Is that your thought, sir? Kelly Rogers?
That's the last two names. There's a first name you haven't gotten yet.
Oh, the first one I haven't gotten yet, I see, but that is part of it.
Yes.
You want the first name as well?
Yes.
Would that be Pat?
That would.
It would. And this number you're thinking about, is that Pat's number?
Yes.
What type of number is that, my son? My dear son?
Well, that's my dog, and that's his license number.
His dog, and that's his license number. I know this thing will go to the dogs eventually, George. Well, you want the dog's license number. You want Pat's license number. Would that be 7812?
Yes, that's it.
Good, fine. All right, thanks. What lady is concentrating her mind upon a thought? The thought seems to be, what is the name of a phone number I found in my husband's wallet? I don't blame you for not raising your hand to that one, Maddy. I wouldn't either if I were you. Don't you trust him? Oh, I see. And you do. You just wanted to know. Well, we'll pass that up. Who was thinking of the Westchester Association? You, sir, the gentleman about the 50th row, way up to the center of the studio. Is that your thought, sir? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you ask me to give you their phone number?
Right.
Do you know it?
Positively.
Oh, dandy, you're very certain about it. Well, I hope that I know it as well as you do, sir. Would it be White Plains 223?
Exactly correct.
I thank you, sir. I thank you very much. I get an impression of the digits 109, line 14. Where does that come from, please? 149, line or dash 14. That's part of a number. Will you please raise your hand, because I cannot identify it. The rest of the thought seems to be the digits 4901. Whose thought is that, please? Is that yours, young lady? Is that yours?
Yes, it is.
That is your thought. Thank you very much. I now receive the impression of someone thinking of June 15, 1941. Where does that come from? The young sailor lad on the right side of the auditorium, about the 15th or 16th row. Is that your thought, sir?
Yes, it is.
That is correct. I thank you. And now who is concentrating his or her mind upon the digits 3716? It's an address. Part of an address. 3716, the lady about the 12th row. Is that yours?
That is.
That is correct, madam?
That is.
Is that your own address?
That's my number.
Your own number?
And the street number was also there.
You want me to give you that?
Please.
You'd like that. Perfect. Will you think of it very hard?
Yes.
Perfect. I'll try to do that. Would that be 80th Street?
Yes.
It is. Thank you. Who is concentrating his or her mind upon the number of a bill in his or her possession? Piece of money, a bill. I get the initial B. That is the series, B, and the digits. Where does it come from, please? Oh, you have a bill also, madam, in your purse?
Yes.
Good. Well, the lady has a very good mind for this type of work, and she thought she'd put me through a second test. Does anyone in the audience know the number of that bill other than you, madam? Are you the only one that knows it?
I think so.
You're not sure of that?
Well, this lady may hear.
Oh, she says she
there's
doesn't.
No one,
well,
there's no one else.
I see. Well, see if I can help you out and see if I can get it accurately. Would that number be 224-158-52, Series A?
It is.
100% accurate.
Accurate.
I think. All the impression which I now receive seems to come from someone concentrating his or her mind upon a name beginning with a C. The name of a place, I get C-A-T-O-Z-E-L-L-A. Where does that come from? That is the lady about the 70th row. It's quite a task getting up there to the young lady. Is that your thought, young lady?
That's right.
Is that a place in Australia?
I want to know whether Mr. Catazella is in Australia.
Well, I couldn't answer that.
You
I'm
don't
no
know?
fortune teller. I can
Well-
only give you your thought, and that is your thought, is it not?
Right.
Thank you. That is all that I can do for you. An impression which I now receive comes from someone concentrating his or her mind upon a question. Shall I return to New York or return to? Where does that come from, please? And the two, the lady about the center of the auditorium, about 20 rows. Is that your thought, young lady? Is that correct?
That's right.
You made that notation at home, did you, upon your own stationery?
No, right here.
On your own stationery?
That's right.
You simply wrote the question, is that correct?
That's right.
Not the answer. Is your name Wynne, perchance?
Yes.
Winnie? Is that initial S?
That's right.
Good. I can't answer that question because it has something to do with the future. No man can honestly answer that. You appreciate that fact. I can only give you your thought. That is right, is it not? That is your thought, is it not?
That's right.
I think.
What about those hunches now, Miss Kilgallen?
After that very convincing performance, my principal hunch is that Dunninger reads thoughts.
What about you, Mr. Auslander?
Miss Kilgallen's always been noted as an authentic source of information. I wouldn't want to argue with her.
Well, that's very gallant of you, Mr. Auslander. Are you going to let the lady have the last word, too?
No, I'm not.
Die hard, huh? Well, what's your pleasure, Shep Fields?
Well, I'd like a little more proof right now. In fact, I think we all would.
I see. Well, I'll tell you, I'm game, Mr. Fields. But I'd like to make a bargain with you.
I've heard that gag before. You mean if you read my thoughts, I've got to do something for you.
Right. Say, who's doing the thought reading here, anyway? You or me?
You, if you try this.
Well, what's it about?
It's about fathers. Miss Kilgallen, Mr. Auslander, and I were discussing Father's Day, which, as you know, is due on Sunday. We decided that if we had a chance, we'd test you on this. What are the 3 qualities we agreed every father should possess?
I see. That is the simple little job you picked out for me. Incidentally, I've not asked you to make any notations of these thoughts, have I?
No, you haven't.
How about you, Miss Kilgallen?
No.
Perfect. Would you then be kind enough to be the first to concentrate your thoughts upon this one qualification that is paramount in your thoughts? Miss Kilgallen, please. Think very hard. You haven't any difficulty in doing that, I'm certain. Would you perchance be thinking of the one simple little and ever-important word of patience?
I would.
That is right. Mr. Fields, how about you, sir? Would you be kind enough to concentrate your thoughts upon some quotation that you think acceptable at the moment to the qualifications that father should exercise?
Yes, I will.
Think very hard. It's an effort, is it, Mr. Fields?
Very much of an effort.
Well, sometimes it is hard to concentrate. But aren't you concentrating likewise upon one lone word? One word, not a sentence. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
Perfect. Is that word, let me see, understanding? Would that be accurate?
That is.
That is likewise correct. Understanding. And now, Mr. Auslander, I'm certain that you have selected an unusual thought for us along this particular field of endeavor. Concentrate, please. Well, naturally, you would think of that, wouldn't you? A sense of humor.
That's right.
That is right. I thank you.
Well, Dunninger did it. Now your turn, Mr. Fields.
Well, what do you want me to do, Dunninger?
Well, I'd like to hear you sing.
Oh, I was afraid of that. I don't sing myself, but I brought my vocalist, Meredith Blake, with me, just in case. I'm sure you'd like to hear Meredith more than me. Besides, she's pretty.
You're telling us. Come on up here, Miss Blake. And what will you sing for us?
I'll sing Embraces for You.
Oh, wonderful.
Embrace me, my sweet embraceable you. Embrace me, you irreplaceable you. Just one look at you, my heart grows tipsy in me. You and you alone bring out the gypsy in me. I love all the many charms about you. Above all, I want my arms about you. Don't be a naughty papa. Come to baby do. my sweet embraceable you. I love all the many charms about you. Above all, I want my arms about you. Oh, don't be a naughty papa. Come to baby, do. My sweet embraceable you.
Thank you, Meredith Blake, and good luck to you when you open with Shep Fields and his orchestra at New York's Copacabana Club this Friday. Today is Flag Day. To honor our flag, we have asked Joseph Auslander to tell you about the 6th of June, 1944, D-Day. You are all familiar with his series, The Unconquerables, the epics of our allies that appeared last year in the Saturday Evening Post. Also with his Invasion Eve sonnets, The Last Four Words, that appeared a few weeks ago in Life. Now you will hear for the first time Joseph Auslander's poem titled The 6th of June, which he wrote on Invasion Day. Mr. Auslander.
This flag that speaks to us of home, symbol of freedom, faith, and pity, this flag brings liberty to Rome, brings truth to the eternal city. And now upon the soil of France, in the cold, ghostly light of dawn, Old Glory greets the anxious glance of men who wave our banner on. This flag for which men gladly perish, for which so many men have died, to hold the way of life we cherish by blood of brave men sanctified. This is the flag of Bunker Hill, of Gettysburg, and Belleau Wood, the flag for which our heroes still pour without stint their precious blood. From Midway to the Coral Sea, from Attu to the Solomons, this is the banner of the free. This is the flag of free men's sons, the flag beneath whose folds tonight on Norman beach and Roman plain the troops of God and freedom fight evil and tyranny again. Now, let each heart renew its prayer and pledge to that proud flag its all, by land, on sea, and in the air. God grant that flag may never fall. Oh, let us gird our strength and give double our strength, that soon may come that day when men in peace shall live. In God's peace, lead our heroes home.
Thank you, Mr. Auslander. Our battle station is on the home front. Our job is to buy war bonds. The more bonds we buy, the better our chance to greet the returning soldier with pride. Buy more war bonds, and buy them now. Buy more war bonds tonight. Last week, Dick Powell, noted screen star, suggested a mental miracle in connection with the plot of his new picture, It Happened Tomorrow, directed by Rene Clair. Dunninger will attempt to prove long-distance telepathy. Dunninger will give you tomorrow's headline today. Seated at his desk some distance from here is Herman Thomas, an editor of the New York Daily Mirror. He has not yet completed the headlines for tomorrow morning's late editions, but he is thinking about them. With us is Dorothy Kilgallen. She will call the city desk of the Daily Mirror. The editor will pick up the phone and concentrate on what he will write as the headline. the editor will not speak to Miss Kilgallen. He will only concentrate as Dunninger reads his thoughts, and Dunninger writes the headline in bold white type on a dark slate in full view of the audience. Only then will Miss Kilgallen ask the editor for verification. Anything else, Dunninger?
No, I think you described that very, very well indeed. Miss Kilgallen is now kindly gotten up from the judge's table, has walked to the center of the studio stage, seated herself upon a chair comfortably, has the telephone to her ear. Have you made the contact, Miss Kilgallen?
Hello? Is it Herman Thomas? Yes, he's on.
Perfect. Am I correct in asking you at this point, Miss Kilgallen? You are not familiar with this headline at this time?
No, I'm not even familiar with the man.
I see. Very good. And the other judges, Mr. Fields, Mr. Auslander, neither of you know anything pertaining to this information.
Absolutely not.
Is that correct?
Nothing whatsoever.
Inasmuch as that information is entirely unknown to everyone, with the exception of the gentleman on the other end of that phone, the young man in the office. At the mirror, it would be needless for me to ask you if any written notation has been made. No notation could be made of anything that isn't known. Is that not a fact?
That's true.
Would you now, Miss Kilgallen, be kind enough to ask him to concentrate his thoughts upon the very first line of the headline that he has selected?
All right.
For tomorrow morning's paper.
On the first line of the
line.
headline that you've written.
I have a large slate here in my hands for the benefit of
Hello,
my...
are you concentrating?
Is he
Don't tell me
concentrating?
what it is.
Don't let him tell you what it is. Simply ask him to think of the first line.
First line, yes.
Or the first word. Now take the next, please, in his mind.
Now think of the next line.
That's correct. Now the next. As Miss Kilgallen is asking him to concentrate his thoughts, I am writing the information as I receive it.
Now, wait a minute.
I know,
how
the
many
first
lines
two
are you
letters. Yes,
assuming?
the third. His third word, please.
Are you thinking of your third word? Think of the third word now.
He's thinking of the third word. At this point, you do not know what
yes,
any of
that'll
these
do.
words
Any
are.
line, it doesn't make any difference.
That's correct. You don't know what any of these words are at this
No.
time, do you, Miss Kilgallen?
Yes, he's thinking of the third word now.
Third. Now the next one, please.
Now think of the fourth.
I'm writing that upon a large blackboard here. Miss Kilgallen cannot see what I am writing, nor can the audience. But I hope to show it to Miss Kilgallen and the audience in a few moments before the verification is made over the phone, which I trust will be 90% accurate. Ask him if he has completed the sentence.
Have you completed the sentence? Yes.
Perfect. I'll show this to the audience, consisting of over 450 persons. Now I turn my slate to the stage for Miss Kilgallen to see. Please do not read my sentence, Miss Kilgallen, but do ask him over the phone to tell you the unwritten headline that he has been concentrating upon at this enormous distance from the studio.
Now will you tell me what the headline is?
What is it, please?
U.S.
Yes.
Fleet.
Yes. The next.
Shells.
Shells. And the last.
Corellies is the last
Is that correct?
word. That's
Have I it correct?
100% correct.
100% correct.
Well, there you are. What do you say to that, Miss Kilgallen?
For the first time in my life, I'm speechless. That man is good.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Kilgallen. You, Mr. Auslander?
I think it's wonderful.
And you've had an enjoyable and pleasant time
I've
this
had a
evening,
very enjoyable evening.
Thank you, sir. And how do you feel, Mr. Fields?
I'm stunned, that's all. Dunninger is miraculous.
Dunninger, it's right back to you again.
Thank you, Sheffield, Dorothy Kilgallen, and Joseph Auslander for being with us. Thank you very much.
Now, here are this week's $50 bond winners in Chemtone's final letter writing contest, which closed June 10th.
Mrs. Elizabeth M. Slattery, Albany, New York.
Mrs. Melba Beck, Grovetown, Georgia. Staff Sergeant R.M. Eastman, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Miss O.E. Hackman, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Congratulations. Your war bonds are in the mail. In addition to the $300 in war bonds awarded this week, Chemtone is mailing certificates good for 1 gallon of Chemtone to the writers of the next best 100 letters received. Now is the best of all times to make your rooms new again with Chemtone, the miracle wall finish. Be sure to get genuine Chemtone, the most amazing paint you have ever seen. Next week, we will broadcast from Chicago, and our judges will be
the Honorable Edward J. Kelly, Mayor of Chicago.
Lula Fields, better known as Lula Bell, popular star of the National Barn Dance.
Ranslow P. Scherer, Chairman of the War Finance Committee for the State of Illinois.
And Dunninger will attempt to locate and describe an original war bond poster painted by David Mink, winner of the 1943 Victory Award of the Chicago Art Directors Club. Dunninger will also attempt several other mental miracles that promise an outstanding Dunninger night. Now, here's Dunninger to say...
George Weist, may I have another moment here? There are one or two little thoughts that have left me somewhat up in the air because I have them in part, and I'm certain to be of interest to my audience to see whether I could work them out accurately. There's one person in my audience somewhat disappointed because I did not get the complete impression, concentrating his or her mind upon the digit 64. I get 64 Bell Avenue. Whose thought is that, please? That is the lady about the 55th row on the right side of the auditorium. She's up there with a broad smile spreading over her face. The young man is going up at the mic. Was that your thought, young lady?
Yes, it is.
Is it true that when I concluded my readings, you were more or less disappointed? You turned to the gentleman and said, he didn't get mine. Wasn't that so?
Yes, that's true.
That is true. So I thought I'd try to get yours. Weren't you thinking of this particular address in Lewistown, Pennsylvania?
Yes, indeed I was.
That is correct. And I likewise got an impression of someone. I'm not certain whether they're on the same mental plane as far as the vibration is concerned, but someone is thinking of Captain Swift. Where does that come from, please? Captain Swift. That is the lady of about the 12th row on the left side of the studio. Captain Swift. Is that your thought, young lady?
That is correct.
You're asking me to tell you where he is at this time.
That's true.
Do you know where?
Yes.
Would that be in Maine?
That is it.
Camden, Maine?
That's correct.
That is correct. And one other thought, please. One other thought. I get the word Thestle. Where does that come from, please? Someone almost fell off a chair there. Jumping about halfway down the studio. Is that your thought, sir?
Not exactly. You have one
Well, is it a
letter
certain
wrong.
type of board?
Yes,
Is that not the name of it?
that's correct.
Oh, it is accurate now.
It's the second letter is not H.
I see. It is not an A. It is an R.
It is an R.
I thank you very much indeed.
Now, this is Glenn Riggs bidding you a pleasant good night for Dunninger and the makers of Chemtone and its 50,000 dealers throughout the country. Try Chemtone. No muss, no fuss, no bother with Chemtone, the miracle wall finish. This is the Blue Network.
That's the Relic Radio Show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find more from the shows you heard today, find past episodes of the Relic Radio Show, all the other podcasts, and everything else Relic Radio at the website, relicradio.com. You can also donate through the website if you'd like to help support the shows, help keep them coming every week. Thank you, as always, to those who have helped out. Thanks for joining me today. Be back next Tuesday with another episode of the Relic Radio Show.